I'm Marc Marzenit. I'm the CEO of Aulart.com. And today, as our first English tweet event, we have the pleasure to have on this event Ralf Kollman. For those that I don't think like nobody. I mean, he's so popular, so I don't think I need to do an introduction. But maybe some of you are the first time that you get into the music industry. So let me introduce briefly to him. He's a legendary A&R founder of Mobilee. They've been releasing more than 250 releases, 15 albums. People like Rodriguez Jr., Mimo, Woolen, Pampot, Squire, so many, and so on. And he's a really, really great human being. It's really humble and been in the industry so many times. So Ralf, hello, welcome on board.
Hello, Mark. Hello, everybody out there. Thanks for inviting me to your Twitch channel and this show.
We invite Ralf not only because he's an expertise in the music business. Now he's going to talk a little bit more about, but also because he's joining Aulart on a bootcamp about how to succeed on the music business, and among other artists like Rodriguez Jr. and Squire and mastering engineer and other people that is going to help new students to develop their career in a better way. But before that, Ralf, before we were online, I was chatting with Ralf a little bit, and I was asking if he's been playing lately, and he made some of big statements that I think that everyone should know. So Ralf, please speak us about a little bit about your DJ and professional career.
Yeah. So maybe I just tell the story about how I started or how I got into the business more than 15 years ago. I have a professional advertising career. So I was always just a raver. I was passionate about electronic music. After being a skateboarder in the 90s, I think electronic music, techno music was my second love, something I inhaled. I don't know, I wanted to know everything about it. I was 17 or 18 years at that time. And I didn't have a clue where this is like leading me or getting me. So beside that, I was always like doing my education and like work in advertising and all that stuff. Yeah, at one point I moved to Cologne, and then I learned everything about Cologne techno and electronic music. My first lessons I got in Frankfurt, Sven Feet, Omen Club, and so on. But again, as a little rave boy.
So you went to Omen Club. It's a legendary club. I mean,
yeah, that's like, I was 17 years. I was like, every time I went there, I didn't know if they let me in, if I get in. Yeah, so it was me and some friends driving there with a car. One of us had a driving license. Yeah? And the rule was, if one of us is not making it in, he needs to stay in the car and wait for the rest of the team to finish their rave night. So just a little funny side story. But yeah, so from Cologne, I then decided in, 2003 to move to Berlin. I met Anja Schneider, and she at that time already was a famous radio host for electronic music with the very popular, very important radio show for techno music in Germany. And I, let's say, through my little rave career, I was quite well connected with people. I don't know. And then at one point we thought, hey, let's start a music label. Yeah. No, we actually started with a party series, because she got approached from Watergate Club to do an own event series, and I helped her with that. So we worked quite well together as a team, and then we decided to set up a music label, because Anja, as a radio host, she got so many demos from her listeners. There was so much music in there, and so what to do with it? And funny enough, one of these demos that she got, even before we started Mobilee in 2005, was demos from Panpot.
Oh, wow.
And then another really old friend of Anya, Sibo K, was also one of the first artists to release on Mobilee. And yeah, it all started as a side project, as a hobby, as a fun thing, because we both had our jobs, and we just did it. Yeah, I don't know, whenever we had some free time left. And then within 3 or 6 months, everything changed completely. It was so successful with the first few releases from Sibo K, from Panpot, from Anya herself, that we, after a few months, that we decided to just run the label, quit our jobs, and do this. Yeah, this is kind of like a short story in a way. But also only telling what happened now 15 years ago. Before that, I was also like a DJ, a so-called bedroom DJ or home DJ. And of course, I had the idea to become a famous DJ as well. And but at one point, I just realized how good I am in, I don't know, understanding the world of electronic music, the music industry, and how everything ticks and clicks and works, and that I was always also able to help other people to make a career by doing what I can do best. And that's when I decided to stick to the management and side and the organization of music events and everything else around it. So I think it's important to do what you're really good at.
And you found at that moment. You found at that moment that was your leading path in the music industry, let's say.
Yeah. So well, of course, when we established Mobilee as an important brand in electronic music, we did our own events, and of course, I always had the opportunity to play and to DJ, and it's my passion. It's where everything is coming from. But there were all the other artists like with us, and they put everything on one card. They wanted to become a DJ, a producer, and so on. I had so much respect for it that it was easy for me to step back, let's say, and just help them to make a career and to be successful. And now, like more than 15 years later, I'm very proud of helping Panpot to kickstart their career, for example, and so many others. But yeah, now it's 2021, and somehow we survived the last 15 years and stayed relevant. And sometimes I'm wondering myself, how did we manage this? Yeah, because if you look around, there are not too many labels or not too many artists who, I don't know, were relevant for such a long time. Who managed to adapt to changes in the industry, and this is probably one of the secrets of our success, and also artists that we are coaching and managing. I don't know, always try to adapt to new things, to changes, embrace new technology, new formats, and I don't know, that's driving us, it's driving me until today. Try to be a step ahead to the rest.
I have a few questions related to that. Before going to the topics, I want to invite to all the audience that is watching us, please, to let us know where they're from or what they would love to learn, or if they have questions, or if someone of you are registered on the bootcamp, just if you have any question related to the bootcamp or suggestions, please let us know. We want to learn more about you, and we want to do this as collaborative possible. The first topic I want to introduce, obviously, it's how music industry changed after pandemic. We were discussing a really interesting topic that I want to mention. What's your vision about how the music industry changed? Because it is also affecting the artists, the future artists. If the music industry changes, I guess, and I know that the artist needs to adapt to this new model.
Yeah, so if we maybe just like think about the last 15 years in general, like so when we started Mobilee, we already started the label at a time when everything changed, when the whole business was set upside down. It was a time when let's say the digital era began. So when we started Mobilee, it was just like we were pressing vinyl still. And I don't know, a few years later, nobody bought vinyl anymore. Everybody bought MP3s on Beatport, downloaded it. A few years later, streaming popped up as a new format and something we had to deal with and find new ways to promote it, to distribute it, and so on. So just to give a quick overview, what we went through, or everybody went through in the last 15 years. The past year, of course, was extreme, like for all of us, not only like it hit everybody, like every society, every business, and I don't know, every family, every single person. But if we look, and that's why we are here, we want to talk about, if we just look particular on electronic music in our ecosystem, we are probably hit in a way than nobody else. Not even other industry segments are at a different place compared to us, because it looks like that our infrastructure. So first of all, like even if everybody is opening again, restaurants,
cross fingers,
bars, and so on. Yeah, hopefully very soon. It's still it's going to take a long time before our, how to say, before we are getting back to normality, to a new normality, so called, because our infrastructure is damaged heavily. I know that a lot of people are they just going to disappear. Booking agents, managements, promoters, clubs, probably a few clubs probably have to close forever. A few festivals won't be able to continue their business, and so on. So on top, our business, music, touring, clubs and festival is also depending on people traveling around. Yeah? And maybe beside the beside the effects of the pandemic, like travel bans and maybe a few airlines who also get bankrupt and so on, I think there's also like a change in our mindset. Yeah. So I think a lot of things are going to happen locally again. Yeah. And I think it's going to last until maybe 22, 23 before we get back to, I don't know, a normal new normality.
The new
with touring all around the world.
Yeah, I call it like the new normality, because I don't think like never is gonna be the same. Before going forward, let's say like thanks to this digital era, we have people watching us from Cologne, Barcelona, New York, London, South Africa, Kosovo through New York, Arabia Saudi, and Greece. So thank you, all of this. I really love to have this multinationality audience. Argentina, they're saying, of course, and I really like this. So please, what do you think would be the essential elements for an artist to evolve in this new normality? What do you suggest to them to do? What is the focus they need to do?
So first of all, it's I think it's going to be divided in two parts. You know, there are the established artists, let's say, from the past. Yeah. And yeah, like the very popular established artists, they will be able to continue and succeed. But I think especially so let's say call it like the middle class, the DJs, artists, who are a very important part of the scene. Maybe some of them, or a big part of them, is cut off. Because maybe some of them decided to do something else, to focus on something completely new in their life. That's something maybe that
I heard things like this.
And this is not only for artists. This is like I think this is happening in all segments of our business. Like some of the best people in management, in booking, in logistics, in, I don't know, sound, they probably just they were rethinking their lives, yeah, and maybe the good ones, they found new jobs, and maybe they stay there, yeah, and not coming back. So, but that means that there's also there's like, it's kind of can be some kind of a cleansing process as well, and that there's a lot of space for new people to get in. Also artists.
So you mean new artists?
Yes, of course, also new artists, because I think if people start raving again, going out again, they don't want to start where they don't want to continue where they stopped a year ago. Yeah, I'm 100% sure that people are looking for something new. They don't want to listen to the same music than a year ago. They don't want to listen to the same DJs. They don't want to go to the same places than a year ago. I think there was, with all the struggle, there are also a lot of chances for new artists, or also for the established people in the business to develop something new, a new experience, a new vibe. And I think what's very important is like to use the energy that's going to be there. If you've seen the footage from Liverpool from last week, it was like one of the first events,
massive events, yeah, one of the first
happening since more than a year. You maybe get an idea of what we can expect when the first clubs and festivals are taking place again. I think there's such a need of, like, I don't know, letting all the energy out again. And I also see it as our, profession, to channel this in the right way and to make things better and to create something new. And yes, again, I think there's an opportunity also for new artists to make a success.
So let's dig in a little bit more about this fact that it's really, this is statement you just said, it's really important. So imagine like some of them, or maybe they're established DJs watching us right now. Maybe Cal Cox is watching right now, or Sven Fett, I don't know. But what if we have like artists that they never released music before? How they know to make music that has been, how they can guide into this new era you said, if they never released music before? What do you suggest them? What they need to look at the sessions before, music in the past release, or because I think like they need to always be themselves, but they need a little bit of the guidance.
Yeah, I don't think that as a producer you need to I don't know, do you need to look for a specific sound? I think maybe there is a chance for producers who are doing a specific sound to get the attention they deserve. I think that one of the biggest problems in the past years was too many producers tried to adapt to trends, to be or to sound like somebody who was dominating the top 10 Beatport charts or something like that. I think that was the biggest problem of the past years, for progression, for innovation, and so on. So maybe the last year gave us the opportunity to create our new styles and our new sounds, because we were not distracted by what other people are doing. Yeah. And I also know that a lot of artists, or just like music lovers, they also took the chance, or the extra time they had because they couldn't go out raving, to explore new music. And that's another reason why I think that the audience, the people, the ravers, the clubbers are open and ready for a new sound. Whatever that is, I don't know, but I'm sure that we're gonna listen to a lot of new ideas and new, I don't know, genres, or like maybe music that you can't put in a genre. That's what I would like to see.
That sounds. Are you gonna talk dig into the bootcamp about this? It's in the so you wanna focus on this also in the bootcamp? You're with the students.
So yeah, it's of course I would like to. So what I'm gonna so the experience I want to share in the bootcamp is like, let's say, without thinking of a pandemic, how to approach labels, how to create a unique sound signature, how to be creative. Creativity, or like a creative idea is not popping out of your computer. I don't know, this, like, also creativity techniques, or from the experience from me working with so many other artists, because I never released music by myself. I just have the experience of working with, I don't know, 100 of artists and going through the production process of more than 250 singles and a couple albums. And sometimes I feel like making this experience with so many different artists, going through mastering processes, like giving feedback and finding the right sound. I think I got a really good idea of what works and what is good sound, what is good music, what is relevant and whatnot. That's what I would like to share in my bootcamp. But also how maybe the A&R strategy also can change over a period of time, and how A&Rs are also like between adapting to trends, or like having the chance to be in the top 10 Beatport charts or streaming playlists. But at the same time, staying unique and innovative, and presenting your own sound. So yeah, that's what we want to talk about.
They're asking in the chat, like, if you want to talk about how to approach Mobilee as well.
Yeah, so of course we have we have all these different channels, from SoundCloud to so we get a lot of demos on Facebook and Instagram and so on. But I must admit, it's very, very difficult to listen to all of this and to give feedback. We are still trying to find the right approach of like channeling all this music, getting to us, listening to it, and giving feedback, because I think everybody who is like producing music and sending something to us deserves a feedback. Yeah, but it's impossible to do that. Like doing this boot camp, of course, gives the opportunity to get in touch with us and connect. But also music conferences, for example, are always a good opportunity to connect to A&Rs from labels and other people from the business, and to make a personal impression. I also don't have a problem with like if I'm at a event, club or whatever, if people come to me and say, hey, can I send you something or give you an USB stick or whatever, this is all very helpful. Like the personal connection is essential, actually. Yeah.
Do you think it's essential? It's still essential?
Yeah. So, well,
even in digital times.
no, it's not essential. It's important. It's important. It helps. Yeah. But yes. So maybe just to give you an example of like my day in the office. Yeah. There are a few email addresses that are all coming into my inbox, and of course, I get a few demos to my direct inbox per day. Yeah, and and I think this is also like just to understand. If you send out your demo to an A&R address, to a label address, or whatever, it really. And this is something. I realized myself. I had to be very, very honest to myself as well. It depends on the moment I get this email. Yeah, the mood I'm in, how the weather is. I don't know. There's so many factors that have an impact on how I perceive this piece of music that somebody's sending me. Yeah, so just to that you also get a sensitivity for the A&R on the other side, and how many factors are kicking in to take the decision if something is good or not. Yeah. So
let me explain you a short story about this, because we film a masterclass with an artist that is in Aulart. I'm not gonna say the name, but maybe some of you will discover if you watch one of their masterclass that he said that once he sent a demo to a label he already released, major label, like huge label, really popular. They wanted in the top 10, okay, in Beatport, and they didn't like the release. But he was convinced that they should release this. So he sent a track 7 months later with another name, but same track. They refused it. A year later, he sent it again with a different name. And I think they refused it, rejected it again. But at the fourth time, like 2 years later, Sunday, he sent it again, the same track, and they released it. And it was like a big track. So when you said this, it really
proving
that story. I say, oh my God, I feel you. I know you. I know what you mean.
No, absolutely. And this is like, if I get something where I feel, okay, there's something in it. It's interesting. I always let it sit for a few days. I listen to it again and again and again. And then I listen to it on my laptop speakers. If I have the chance, I listen to it on the studio monitors or on my studio headphones. And really what I just said, it's sometimes similar. If you drink a glass of wine before you listen to the music, it can sound different already,
Okay, maybe just say the trick. The trick is to give you a USB pen and then a bottle of wine. That's a perfect combination,
Yeah,
guys, listen to this tip.
yeah, sure. No, but I know that I passed on a lot of demos that became huge hits. It's like that. Yeah. So it's a little bit like I don't know. It's a little bit like a lottery. Yeah. And also, like, if you run a label, and if you choose to work with a few artists on a regular base, I always compare that like it's betting on horses, or like the music business is like that in a way, because it's unpredictable. You never know. You can be the most successful A&R, you can't be 100% sure that what you choose to release is going to be successful, is going to be what people like to hear right now.
And one second,
it's a brutal truth.
We have people actually asking, Adrian Cross and Vitamin is asking, how are you going to work the feedback sessions? Because both ask the same question in the bootcamp. I guess they are on the bootcamp and they want to know who is going to work the feedback sessions on the bootcamp.
Okay. So I think that we're gonna just exchange our personal contacts at one point, and then we're gonna schedule the feedback sessions with everybody on an individual base. Yeah, it's just like we're gonna send an email, maybe with a few suggestions, time, day, and so on. Please pick one. and this is how we're going to do it. And then we're going to have probably just a Skype chat together, exchange music, and talk about that.
That's a really, guys, really, this is a really unique opportunity. So these are big chance to prepare good music, to be honest, because this is not happen often. This has happened as well with our previous bootcamp with Hernan Cattaneo, that they received some tracks that they're thinking maybe to release it, and happened with Andres Campo masterclass, that he put an email to the in the masterclass, and he said, "Oh my God, I got an email from a guy that is really good. I think I'm gonna release." So I think like this is a unique opportunities to get into direct contact to the music industry. So,
but it's also like a chance for me, actually, because yes, maybe I find a new talent. And what I said before, the music is one thing, but before I release a track on Mobilee, I also need a personal impression. I need to know, okay, what is the producer, the guy, the artist, who is that? Who is the guy behind this music? And that's also like something that we want to talk about in our bootcamp. So when it comes to creativity, when it comes to artist growth and artist profile, what does it mean to be an artist? How do you establish yourself as an artist, as a figure, as a visionary guy, as like somebody who has to tell a story, beside the music, because that's quite important these days.
I mean, it's entertainment industry, no? It's as the word say, we're entertainers, so it means that we need to entertain the people in the better way. By the way, if you guys, the guys who are watching us in the tweets, there is a giveaway on our Instagrams, on Aulart Instagram and Mobilee Instagram. So go to the Instagrams and just need to tag a friend that will love to that you know that it's interested, and just go to the Instagrams and you can win a free access to the bootcamp. Going back to the topic of how the music industry is changing, you said something like it's like really blow mind to me, like the music is being released in the past year is not been tested before. I mean, that's huge statement. Like, oh my God, I realized this, but I never thought like how deep is this sentence? Like how you think that it's affecting in the music, or it's gonna affect in the next releases, even in Mobilee, because you are releasing music in Mobilee.
Yeah, so this is like something that I figured out when I talked with our artists and with other people in the business. For example, we're working on an album release coming out in July, and also a lot of other releases. This is like the music that we released in the past month. It's the first time in the history of music that music gets released without being tested in clubs. Especially electronic music or dance music. You even sometimes an artist, before he sends music to an A&R or to a label, he's road testing his music if he is a DJ already or has a chance to play in public, or he's giving it to friends and playing the music for him and trying to see the reaction. And I realized in the past month that this has a huge effect on the A&R decision, but also on the artists that are producing music, because it's kind of like a blind flight. So we again, like what I said before, we have no idea how this is going to work. We were focusing, or let's say we adapted our A&R strategy a little bit to the situation, and tried to find and release music that works without a clubbing moment, that you can listen and feel and enjoy on your headphones, streaming music and so on. That's one thing. And but this probably all automatically has an effect on the music that's getting released in the next month as well. So that's one that was one very big challenge in the past month. Also, a lot of artists thought, wow, I'm not touring. Let's get in the studio and produce amazing music. There was also, let's say, of wrong thinking. Yeah, so I have all the time right now. I go in the studio and make great music. Most of the artists got stuck because they missed the inspiration they usually have. Yeah, it doesn't help to lock yourself up in the studio and try to make music. Like sometimes, well, that was a feedback that I got from my artists, that they are more efficient and more creative with less time, but with traveling around, meeting people, and just getting inspiration to do music. So these are like some very interesting things I discovered in the past year. So let's see how this affects the release in the next time.
Yeah, maybe at the beginning of this pandemic situation, what I felt, not big, because to be honest, since I started Aulart, I don't have many time to make music, so I'm being more involved in education than being back in the studio. But what I was talking with all the artists, like as you said, like at the beginning of the pandemic, they were out of creativity, out of inspiration. There was I have no zero inspiration. I have all the time of the world, and I have zero inspiration to make music.
Yeah.
And then I guess it's so important to get inspiration from as many sources as possible. But I guess for DJs that are making electronic music, to be in a club, to talk with people, to interact, even not to play it, to go and visit other artists, for me, it has been a really huge source of inspiration. And I felt like this is definitely like one of the big challenges, how to be inspired if we are not going to clubs or we are not visiting people. That's really struggling, at least from my point of view.
I always gave the advice to take a white piece of shade, a white piece of paper, take a pencil with you, and go into the nature, for example. And that's what I meant when I said, like, the creative idea is not popping up in your computer, or in your sequencer. I always try to encourage our artists to to think in songwriting capacities, and not in like track production functionality things. I think this makes a difference these days, and this is also like something that there's a big change that we saw in the past years. So electronic music, like the gap between electronic music or underground electronic music and pop music or dance music or radio music is not that big anymore. It is just a small gap. A really cool written electronic underground piece of music can be played in radio these days on daytime rotation. If you have the right idea, if you're not afraid to work with vocals, but not only with like vocal samples or snippets, maybe invite somebody, a collaborator who knows how to sing and to write songs and create something together.
Let me go to some questions, because we have so many questions in the chat, and they're asking, for example, what is the most common in Belmont? Is asking, what's the most common mistake when artists approach to a label? What's the
okay? So
let's dig into this.
Okay, so I get a lot of demos that are obviously sent to 20 other contacts at the same time. Or sometimes I get demos without any personal note, even without a contact or like an address signature or anything. So this is all like going to the trash bin immediately. If you send a demo to a label, send at least 1 or 2 sentences about you, maybe even why you are approaching this specific label, and put your full contact details to an email. These are the basics.
It seems basic, but I know. Like, I was running a label in 2006, Paradigma Musik, that actually was based in Berlin, and we were working with Compaq. And funny thing, like, we got demos like in this way, and it's unbelievable, like, how this is possible. Why the people didn't put an email contact and want just, or even something they forgot to hide the other email, so you receive an email next to 100 email more. It's like, really? I mean, you are really doing this. But I guess like this is important because for a person that has no contact with the music industry, that is just been watching the music industry from outside, I feel like there's so many things like for you and for me are so obviously, but not for a new person. And this is what the thing I realized, okay, and that's why I create Aulart as well. It's like, okay, we need to educate, because there's so many things like people doesn't know, and they're basics. But I guess that this is a career, so a career needs to learn step by step. But definitely there's so much education in the music industry, and that needs to be taught.
I think it's also a matter of respect, and it shows how serious you take these things. Yeah, if you apply for a job somewhere, your letter has a very specific format, right? So I don't need like a CV and a job letter, an application or something like that. But like, this is like how I feel about it, at least like a few basics, a few personal sentences or whatever, because this is the first impression that you make as an artist.
And we have a tip for you, actually. Corvino26 says, have you thought about funneling the demos stream through Discord?
Discord. This is kind of like
it's more for video games industry, but it's becoming really popular.
Yeah, you can connect with people, you can listen to stuff, and then also chat with them immediately.
To be honest, I only use it because I teach in the university, and it's university related to video games, and everyone is using Discord, to be honest.
I know TeamSpeak.
Who?
TeamSpeak.
I don't know it.
Maybe that's similar. So yeah, but I haven't heard about that, so I'm not sure. There are a couple of demo services. I think Hello Demo, for example, and there's another company we also tried and worked with, and they help to organize demos. They help young producers to find the right contacts, and the labels or the A&Rs to organize the demos and putting it in categories and giving feedback in a very simple way and so on. We tried this, but at the end, we ended up with the same problem. The channel was stuffed with music that just doesn't fit to us as a label. It's a shame, because this makes it difficult for musicians who are seriously interested in working with us and who maybe really like would think, okay, this sound really fits to the label, and thought about it. It just makes it difficult for them to get through, because I don't know, like, again, like from 50 demos that we get, maybe only 2 or 3 are going into our direction, roughly, at least.
You know what I've been thinking, Lily, also is like, before, the amount of demos was this amount, like maybe it's 20% that the amount of demos that the label can receive right now, because it's many there right now. There are much more producers than were before. To be a producer, you need to buy expensive equipment, it requires so much technology and investment, and I realized that before, for an A&R, it was more easy to select the music. Nowadays, you can easily have 100 demos per day, and maybe 80% are music that is not related even to your genre, you know. And I feel like to filter this, it's complicated. It's complicated, but like to have possibilities to go to I don't know, like events like ADE and to view a panel or Medu, or events like your bootcamp, you know, when you can really have a session one-to-one. I think they're gonna change that, or gonna help A&Rs on industry to filter some artists, you know, because as you said, people that want to be really into the music business, they need to be a huge effort. All the artists we're being interviewing, they didn't make it easily. They suffer a lot, they invest a lot. So if you guys like really want to make it real and you want to make it seriously, you're into the music career, I mean, there's gonna be some steps like are gonna be more than sending a couple emails and downloading a software. I think there's so many aspects that probably when you start, you don't know. And I have a question from, because we have 15 minutes more and we have a few more questions, like EAKZ Music asks, can a music be too unique for a label to like it? It's an interesting question.
Yeah, whatever that means, because this is a matter of definition, you know. So I don't know, everybody has a different taste, you know? So what does unique mean for you? I would say no, it can't be too unique. It's I think also A&Rs and labels have to do their homework and take more risks to also create an environment that maybe encourages producers to create unique music, do their own thing, you know, because so if nobody is releasing music that nobody had heard before, then we are always ending up in the same musical genre. And even if I'm speaking on conferences, if I meet with people from the industry, that's something that I'm telling everybody. You know, so we need to take more risks as A&Rs, and especially the successful labels. They need to make space for new talents and for new sounds and new music.
We have more questions here. Well, Scrolling Mob said like he would love to be a new Renaissance where there's more space for underground DJs and not hype DJs anymore. It's an interesting quote. And Adrian Krause is asking if the participants of the bootcamp will have the chance to speak during the sessions. And I can say yes. Ralf is going to be the moderator, so you can speak and even put your camera, but it needs to be approved by Ralf always as a moderator. And yes, he's asking if the bootcamp session will be recorded for watching. Yes, next day we'll have the session recorded until 1 month more. And we have another question, like what makes Mobilee distinct from other labels out there? What's the secret?
Ah, God, if I would know. Okay, so I mean, there are so many music labels, successful labels out there, and of course, we were always thinking about where do we fit in? How do we categorize ourselves? And what I've realized at one point is compared to a lot of other successful labels, were founded by other artists, for example. Like most of the artist-driven labels, they all have a very specific and clear idea of their music. I don't know, from Richie Hawtin's Minus label to Solomon's Dynamique and Tale of Us Afterlife, just to also mention some of the new very successful labels. I think all these artist-driven labels where like an artist is on on top of it, and also this taking the A&R decision, they always have a very, very clear vision and idea of the music. And then there is maybe not so much space left to the left or to the right to try out new things, because what they release on their label also reflects or represents their DJ performance or DJ profile, yeah, or other artists. I don't know, for example, Dirty Bird, Claude von Stroke, also another label I really respect and love. You know, they have a very clear and own idea of music. They actually established their own genre in a way, I would say. But yes, all of the examples, yeah, there are like visionary artists and producers on top of it. Yeah, I think that at the end, maybe in the beginning it was difficult for us, but now it's an advantage that in the beginning, when Anja Schneider and I founded the label, we were more like, let's say, ravers, you know, passionate about electronic music, and gathering a bunch of people making music. We grew up in the, as I explained in the beginning, in the mid-late 90s with electronic music, and went through all these different styles, like from drum and bass and house and techno. I loved all of it. And I also danced to all of this different music. I think that's what we still have in mind when we run the label. Of course, yes, we want to make the people dance with the music we release, but we always try to present like different styles. And if you listen to music that got released on Mobilee in the past 15 years, even like at the same time, Panpot, Zip OK, Exercise One, Anja Schneider's, it's all different music, but it has something in common, but I don't know what it is.
Really, I mean, it's not only answer a question, it really make like a clear path, like what's the evolution of a label and to follow. But I feel like it's so important to have a clear leadership, you know, on the label, like be a good A&R, help your artists, you know, as well as you're doing. Because one of the things that really, and I need to say this because I have many friends in common that I know, like Ralf is managing, and all of them are super happy with Ralf because the approach he's doing in the industry is not only an A&R label or a label manager. He's helping them to understand the industry, and he's helping them to say yes to this and no to that and focus them. So, and I know it because not only because I know Ralf and I were working with him in Aulart and in his bootcamp and other stuff, but also because producers that they work with him. So it's really good. I think really congratulations. You're really doing such a great job in the industry.
Thanks for the compliment.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I know.
Nice to hear.
Dungeon 777 it's imagine like if it's possible for him, or I guess anyone to release in such a label like Mobilee, if he's not a DJ and he never been released on big labels, do you think there's a chance to totally newcomer, a guy that never been released anywhere, to make it into a new label? What they will need to have this opportunity?
I'm very proud of a few artists that I've released in the past 2 years. It was not the first release that they had, but they were, I would say, unknown. Yeah. It's an artist from Barcelona, Gullen, for example. Yeah. Or another artist from Valencia, Memo. This, I don't know. I've never heard about them before. I got the demo, I listened to it, and there was something, and I tried it out. You know, I really said, okay, I want to see how this works and how people react on it. And I always I stick to my own, let's say, rule. You know what I just said. I'm encouraging the industry to take more risks, especially as an established artist, a label. And I always try to keep the balance. You know, of course, Rodriguez Jr. is a very well-known artist, and I'm happy to have him on the label. But having this very successful artist on the label also um, um, yeah, helps me to release music from unknown talents, to keep the balance, because like the big names are supporting the new talents, and this is how it should be. So yes, it is possible to release music on Mobilee even if you never had a release before.
That's nice. And guys, this is such a great opportunity. The Aulart team is telling me like we have the winners from the good bootcamp. They're gonna write it in the chat. But congratulations to Franziska Wozlik. Sorry for the presentation. And Alt from Prague, Istanbul. You win the bootcamp. Congratulations. The team is gonna post it and they're gonna contact you. So congratulations. You have 2 new students on the bootcamp.
Looking forward to see you and to meet you.
We
Maybe
have
there's one thing I want to mention, because so when we put the bootcamp together, I was like just trying to touch like the most important topics of the music industry, or what I realized is important for artists to learn and to know about. And I think we're living at a time where, as an artist, you need to try to understand all the aspects of the business, yeah, at least a little bit, to get a feeling for how everything works. But this bootcamp is not only for young producers or people who want to make music, also for people who like to make a step into the booking business, or maybe are interested in the management side, or want to run a label or start a label, are also invited to join, of course.
Do you think after, let's say, after a person who finished the bootcamp, do you think how much time they would need to invest on their careers, an average time? Because I think before, let's say like before, it took so long to develop a career because technology was slow, even in promotion, in PR, in release music. Nowadays, with the digital stuff, you can release 1 month ahead and in release. But what do you think nowadays is the average time, like when an artist starts sending demos and being published and then being released? Because I think the people doesn't understand this. They think like, okay, I'm releasing a label. They're gonna release it in this next month. I'm gonna have gigs in the next 3 months. And I think the path is much longer when I know. And I think, what's your average time to make them understand what's the timing?
So you mean between like getting a demo, taking the decision to release it, and then getting it finally out?
Exactly. Because I know, I made this question because they're gonna be surprised if nobody released a track before.
Yeah.
Obviously, because when I teach at the school or university, it happens. Okay, I got released on a label, but they tell me like they took through 2 months to answer me, then 4 months to release it, and then it's such a half a year and a year. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, it can be very frustrating, especially because as an artist, you're always evolving and progressing, and you usually also getting better and better, create new ideas. And then if you listen to a piece of music that you created a year ago, yeah, it's difficult sometimes. So I think we found a really good way. We are quite flexible with our release schedule. I know from other labels that they sometimes need like 6, 7, 8, 9 months. That's like the advanced planning that they have. So they already signed releases until September or October right now. So I always try to have a few slots available in between to be able to to react quickly. For example, sometimes I have an established artist, like, I don't know, Rodriguez Jr. Hey, do you know what? I have this amazing music, and I want to have it out in 2 months. I always find a slot to make that happen. But also, if I listen to something, so I always try to actually If I think about it, I like the way I'm deciding or I'm compiling my release schedule is also a little bit like a DJ set. You know, I would never release like a similar sounding music in a row. Yeah, so I'm always trying to kind of like create some ups and downs and like I don't know, to give some variety. And so yeah, but to get back to your original question, in our case, it's possible to release something within 3 months from now.
3 months. That's
Yeah,
impressive. It's
3 to
impressive.
4. Yeah.
To be honest, I've been releasing in different levels, like releasing Sven Vath, Cocoon's label. I've released in True Soul from Adam Beyer. I've released in Bedrock from John Dewitt, and I release and so on, like many labels. And the average time, I would say it's between 7 years and 7 years, sorry, 7 months and 9 months, I could say, not before. It was almost impossible to release the music before. And I mean in digital areas, not even in final areas. If it's in final areas, yes, 9 months or a year for sure.
I don't like to eat cold food, so this is why I want to have it out when it's still fresh.
Okay, guys, it's the timing. I know like Ralf is a really busy man, and thank you
Busy
so
family man as well.
busy family man, busy businessman, busy. Thank you so much, Ralf, for being with us in this Twitch event, and for those who are being subscribing the bootcamp. Yeah, really hope that you enjoy this opportunity to learn with him, and not only with him, with Rodriguez Jr., Squire, and all the rest of the bootcamp members. I don't know. You want to give any tip for the last minute to this?
So I know, yes. So I think if you're interested in that, you're going to find all the information on your website, I guess. But I don't know, if you think that I'm really looking forward to share is, I don't know, like Squire is talking about like motivation and personal growth, because he has a very interesting background and history, also as a Formula One racer. And like how he kind of like transformed to a successful artist. Rodriguez Jr., of course, is going to give us some insights from his studio and some creative techniques and stuff like that. We have Klaas Lindbart from Black Hat Studios. Yeah, like talking about like mixing and mastering. We have Eric Horstman from Immersive Lab. That's something that I find very interesting, because we want to talk about a new music format, Dolby Atmos, that I think is very important for the future. So far, just Tidal and Amazon HD are supporting this format in streaming. But I'm pretty sure that Apple Music is the next one jumping on that. And we already started to build up a catalog in Dolby Atmos, because again, we want to be one of the first and ride this wave when it's becoming, let's say, maybe the new mainstream format at one point. And that's going to be very interesting, talking about the opportunities with this. Yeah, and then I'm going to be very thankful for all the interaction that we're going to have during the course, because that helps me to make the most out of it, and maybe also for the students, because if they have specific questions and topics to discuss, then I'm happy to do that, of course.
Okay, Ralf. Thank you so much. Thank you to you all. For the winners, congratulations. We have the last question is like Iridia9 is asking if the bootcamp is gonna repeat in the future. I guess like Ralf, are you gonna do another bootcamp after this?
Yes, of course. I think so. I really enjoy this. I started to share my knowledge and experience and ideas a few years ago on conferences, on panels, and because I I got a lot of feedback, like and positive response, and I think that that we also benefit, because if we share our knowledge and our experience, it's just helping a new generation to grow and establish an artist, and that helps us to again stay alive and relevant,
and also to improve the way you receive demos. So it's a win-win situation.
That's true.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you very
Ralf.
much. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, see you soon.
See you soon, guys. Bye bye.